Hey everyone, it's John back again with another important update on the UK's shifting political landscape. But before we get into it, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to stay on top of all the latest news. Today, we're diving into a critical warning from Lord David Frost about the Conservative Party's future. With Nigel Farage's Reform UK rapidly gaining support, the Tories could be in danger of collapse. We'll also take a look at Labour's controversial North Sea tax plans and what it could mean for Britain's economy. Let's get started. Lord David Frost, a key Conservative peer and former cabinet minister, has delivered a stark warning that could send shockwaves through the political establishment. At a recent Conservative Party conference in Birmingham, Frost spoke openly about the potential collapse of the Tory party if they fail to address the growing disillusionment among their voters. The sudden rise of Nigel Farage's Reform UK party, which is quickly becoming a force to be reckoned with in British politics. Reform UK recently made headlines by securing 14.3% of the vote in its first parliamentary election this July, resulting in the election of 5 MPs. This might seem like a modest number compared to the Tories, but the trend is what's truly alarming. The Conservatives, who once held a stronghold in Parliament, won just 121 seats and captured less than 25% of the vote in the same election. Lord Frost didn't shy away from calling out the fundamental issues that have driven many traditional Tory voters to abandon the party. He identified the Conservatives' failure to deliver on key promises like reducing immigration and cutting taxes, two areas where their policies have fallen short. For decades, the Tories could rely on psychological loyalty, long-time voters who stuck with the party no matter what. But now, Frost says that loyalty is breaking down, and many former Conservative voters are either giving up on politics or turning to Farage's Reform UK. Frost emphasised that this shift isn't just a temporary blip, it could spell the end of the Conservative Party if they don't act fast. He pointed out that dissatisfaction with central office is palpable among the party's members and supporters, many of whom are frustrated with the party's inability to stand by its core principles. He said, "For the first time in a very, very long time, the party in the country is beginning to break down, and some of the instinctual loyalties are beginning to break down. The rise of Reform UK presents a significant challenge for the Tories. Farage's party has capitalised on the very issues that have alienated Conservative voters: high immigration, rising taxes, and the perception that the government is out of touch with its base." Frost noted that many Conservative voters sympathise with Reform UK's policies, wishing their own party had taken a stronger stance on these issues. He cautioned that if the Conservatives continue down their current path, they could be replaced entirely by Reform UK. Nigel Farage, known for his brash political style, has made it clear that his goal is nothing less than the complete overhaul of British politics. After the July election, Farage declared that he wanted to change politics forever and vowed to turn Reform UK into a mass movement across the country. With public trust in the Conservative Party at an all-time low, Farage's vision might not be as far-fetched as it once seemed. Lord Frost's warning comes at a crucial time for the Conservative Party, which is preparing for the next general election. He stressed that the Tories cannot afford to divide the right if they hope to stay in power. "We can't possibly win the next election if the right is divided," Frost stated. His solution? The Conservative Party must find a way to win back the voters they've lost to Reform UK by becoming a stronger, more unified party once again. But here's the kicker. Frost believes the Conservative Party is teetering on the edge of an identity crisis. It doesn't have a right to exist. It's got to stand for something, he warned, adding that unless the Tories can reclaim their core values, they risk becoming irrelevant in British politics. While the Tories grapple with their existential crisis, Labour is facing its own set of challenges. One of the most controversial proposals from the Labour government under Sir Keir Starmer is the introduction of a windfall tax on oil and gas producers operating in the North Sea. This tax hike has sparked outrage among industry leaders and economists who fear that the policy could do more harm than good. Under Labour's plan, the windfall tax on energy producers, first introduced in 2022, would increase by an additional 3%, bringing the total tax burden on the sector to a staggering 78%. This would make the UK one of the highest taxed oil and gas sectors in the world. Sir Keir's government has positioned this move as a necessary step to fund the transition to renewable energy, but the consequences could be devastating for Britain's energy security and economy. The industry's response has been swift and critical. Offshore Energies UK, OEUK, which represents the oil and gas sector, warned that Labour's tax policy could result in a £12 billion loss for British taxpayers. OEUK's analysis suggests that the proposed tax would drive investment away from the North Sea, reducing the sector's contribution to the UK economy over the next 5 years. David Whitehouse, CEO of OEUK, stated that the windfall tax would provide only a short-term financial boost, but could have long-term negative effects. The loss of investment in the North Sea would not only lead to fewer jobs, but also leave the UK more reliant on foreign energy imports. This comes at a time when energy security is more critical than ever. Speaking to GB News, oil and gas expert Ray Trevino shared his concerns about the 78% tax. Trevino, who serves as Vice President of Pecos Country Operating, warned that such a heavy tax burden would drive businesses away from the UK. No company is going to want to do business in a place where they're taxed that heavily, Trevino said. He added that Britain's natural gas reserves could serve as a critical transition fuel as the world moves towards renewable energy, but Labour's tax plan could undermine the potential for future production. Trevino also noted that while Britain may be better equipped than other countries to handle a reduction in oil and gas usage due to its smaller size and reliance on alternative forms of transportation, this doesn't mean that Labour's tax policy won't hurt the economy. He argued that the UK needs to find a balance between encouraging renewable energy development and maintaining a healthy energy sector. Despite the backlash, the Labour government remains committed to pushing the windfall tax through. A Treasury spokesperson responded to the criticism by emphasising the need to maintain dialogue with the energy sector to refine the tax policy. However, with billions of pounds of investment and thousands of jobs at risk, the stakes couldn't be higher. As both the Conservative and Labour parties face intense scrutiny, the future of British politics and its economy is in flux. For the Conservatives, Lord Frost's warning is a wake-up call. The party must act fast to regain the trust of its base or risk being swept aside by Reform UK. Nigel Farage's insurgent party is quickly gaining momentum, and with traditional Tory voters flocking to his banner, the Conservative Party's very survival could be at stake. On the other side of the political spectrum, Labour's controversial North Sea tax plans could backfire, costing the UK billions in lost revenue and investment. While the push for renewable energy is commendable, experts warn that Labour's tax policy could undermine Britain's energy security and economic stability. With so much uncertainty ahead, the UK is at a crossroads. Will the Conservative Party find a way to reunite the right and fend off the rise of Reform UK? And can Labour navigate the complex balance between environmental goals and economic growth? Stay tuned for more updates and don't forget to subscribe to keep up with the latest developments.